Relative Connections. Adoption.
Hi, I'm Dave Oates from Relative Connections, and I wanted to tell you a bit today about our Adoption Intermediary service. So if you're a person who's affected through adoption and you're wanting to trace perhaps birth family, if you're an adopted adult yourself, or if you know of a person who's been adopted away from your family who is now an adult, then we can usually help you with that. The first thing you need to do is make an inquiry with us and tell us about some specifics of your case. You'll speak with one of our trace consultants who will be able to assess whether we can help you and whether it's a case we feel we can take on. When you do that, they'll also tell you what the costs of the search is, if they do feel we can take the case on, and then obviously it's up to yourself to decide as and when you want to go ahead. When you do decide to go ahead, it will come down to our specialist adoption team who deal with all cases related to adoption, and they're part of a registered adoption support agency, which is something that's crucial, certainly for England and Wales, when we're looking to trace and contact members of birth family where adoption is concerned. They will have a much longer meeting with you. They will firstly verify your identity and your connection to the person that you're separated from, usually through documentation. That's part of the legal process we have to follow. They will also have a longer chat with you to understand what your motivation for reaching out is, what your intent might be, what your hopes and expectations are, because they're all really important things. But also we'll want to discuss through with you what the potential outcomes could be, because we don't know at the start of the process, and so it's really important we prepare you for different outcomes, particularly some of the more complex and difficult ones that might occur. Once we've done that, we also need to notify and work with the appropriate agency. Now, the appropriate agency is generally the agency that arranged this adoption originally, or the agency now responsible for those records. Some historic adoptions were arranged privately, in which case there is no agency, but we would generally refer to the local authority where the adoption occurred as the appropriate agency in such a case. The reason we contact them is they may have been contacted since the time of the adoption, or they may hold information that's quite relevant to the process of the service that we're conducting. So they might have information that says this person has been in touch before and would like contact, or conversely might not wish to be in touch. Our general experience around this, particularly with older adoptions, which in truth are the ones that we deal with more frequently, so I'm talking about people born perhaps mid-1980s and much earlier, is that it's rare that anyone's been back in touch generally. And one of the problems with that, I think, is because most historic adoption agencies have actually now closed, because in the 60s particularly there was tens of thousands of adoptions in each year, so whereas today there's hardly any. So historically there were lots of adoptions under very different circumstances than perhaps we might see today. So we don't find that the agencies are so easy to contact because their records get passed around, and it can be quite difficult even for us to trace those records. But we have an onus to try and trace them, try and contact the appropriate agency and seek their views about our contact to your relative. Once that's been done, we'll hopefully have gathered some information as well along route to be able to trace your relative, and we'll keep you notified on when we've been able to do that, because tracing them is obviously a key part of what we do, and tracing them hopefully and finding that they're alive and we would trust well is important. If the relative has passed away, that's something we would obviously inform you about. Generally, we might consider contacting other relatives of that person, depending upon the specific circumstances of the case and whether that's something you want to do as well. Hopefully we find your relative, hopefully they're alive and well, and when we start the process of contact, you will be informed, and you will also have been asked to write a letter. We refer to this as a personal statement, but it's very much a letter from you to them, where you get to explain a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your hopes and expectations for reaching out, and then that will hopefully give them something to take away and process and understand what's going on in order to make an informed decision. People are always shocked when we contact them. I can't think of a case where somebody wasn't genuinely shocked, even where they might have hoped or even expected contact. The day that comes is always a surprise. So people will generally need time to just digest what's going on, even if they've already made their minds up about contact before we approach them, it's helpful to have at least a few days to take things on board, and then we will move forward in a way that we will agree with everybody, and we will try and guide you to what we feel is the best way to do that as well. Sometimes people don't want contact as well. We have to respect that. Hopefully any client that we have would understand that. Sometimes contact just isn't right for people for various reasons, and we will discuss those when we have our initial consultation with you as well, where we think about the potential outcomes and try and understand why it might be difficult to have contact with some people. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're thinking about using our intermediary service, then you can obviously get in touch, ask us any questions that you feel you want answered in order to help you understand whether you feel we're the right people to try and help you. Thanks for watching.